Breaking news. The Chicago Bears have officially trimmed their roster, making some bold and surprising moves just days before the new season. Some fan favorites are safe, others not so lucky. And trust me, the decisions made on August 25th, 2025 are already sending shockwaves through the fan base. Stay locked in because the list of names cut today includes a few you might not have expected. The Bears have now released or waived a total of 11 players to bring their roster down to the league required 53. But here's the good news for Bears Nation. The breakout star of this preseason, wide receiver Jade Walker, is still on the roster as of now. Walker's electrifying play had fans buzzing all summer, and many believe he deserves his spot heading into the regular season. But before we dive deeper into today's roster shakeup, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and don't forget to ring that bell icon so you never miss a breaking update on your Chicago Bears. Alright, let's get back to the latest news. Here's the rundown of the cuts. The first wave included names like Major Burns, John Jackson, Jonathan Kim, Samori Toure, Suez Bozeman, Thomas Garden, Mark Perry, and Jeremiah Walker. Then came the more recent and honestly more surprising set of moves. Tight end Joel Wilson, a player many thought could carve out a spot, was among those let go. Joining him were Millard Bradford, Xavier Carlton, Alex Cook, Paul Eccles, Caleb Pay, Austin Reed, Ian Wheeler, Tre Flowers, Royce Freeman, and Joshua Miles. One of the biggest surprises here, running back Royce Freeman. The Bears are now down to just two active running backs in practice, Britton Brown and DeAndre Swift. That's a risky move and raises serious questions about how Chicago plans to handle depth at the position. So what do these cuts really mean for the Bears' Week 1 strategy? Let's break it all down. When you look at the preseason Joel Wilson put together, it's hard not to respect the effort. The veteran tight end consistently moved the chains, ran crisp routes, and became a reliable target for both Tyson Bagent and Austin Reed. Statistically, he delivered two, leading the team in receptions, recording 85 yards, 1 touchdown, and averaging nearly 8 yards per catch across 104 snaps. His puff grade came in at 66.7, a solid mark for someone fighting for a roster spot. But here's the reality, Chicago's tight end room is loaded. And no matter how hard Wilson fought, the numbers game caught up with him. For now, he's been waived, though the door isn't fully closed. He spent last year on the practice squad, and there's still a good chance the Bears look to bring him back if he clears waivers. The problem? Any team across the league can scoop him up first. Another name that caught fans by surprise, running back Ian Wheeler. After winning over supporters last year and gaining attention in this year's camp, Wheeler simply didn't have the production to cement his spot. He finished preseason with 100 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 3.8 yards per carry average across 30 snaps. Respectable numbers, but not enough to push him past the competition. The most puzzling part, Chicago practiced with just two running backs on the field today, Britton Brown and DeAndre Swift. That means the Bears are confident about the health of guys like Travis Homer, Roshan Johnson, and Kerry Blossingame moving forward. Still, cutting Wheeler this early felt abrupt, and for many fans, it was a tough one to swallow. The Bears' backfield decisions are where things really start to raise eyebrows. Let's start with Royce Freeman, a name many fans didn't expect to see on the cut list. Freeman earned respect last season when he stepped in late and immediately provided toughness, even flashing against the Kansas City Chiefs. This preseason, he put together a steady performance with 22 rushing yards on just 5 carries, a 4.4-yard average, plus a receiving touchdown. His puff grade came in at a strong 71.4. By all accounts, Freeman looked like the kind of reliable power back every team could use. And yet, Chicago decided to move on. Reports suggest the move has more to do with confidence in Roshan Johnson's recovery than anything Freeman did wrong. The Bears chose not to stash him on waivers, meaning Freeman is free to sign with any team immediately. For a veteran with his skill set, that opportunity may come sooner rather than later. As for the quarterback room, no real drama there, but one notable move. Austin Reed, who spent last year on the practice squad, is once again the odd man out of the active roster. Reed put up 107 passing yards across 18 preseason snaps, averaging 6.3 yards per attempt with no turnovers. His play was steady, but not enough to threaten the Bears' top trio. With Caleb Williams locked in as the franchise leader and Tyson Bagent recently securing an extension, Chicago looks set to roll into the season with 3 quarterbacks. Reed most likely will be back on the practice squad to provide depth behind the scenes. When it comes to quarterbacks, the picture is finally clear. Chicago is officially rolling into the season with three signal callers: Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, and veteran Case Keenum. That trio gives the Bears a balance of youth, upside, and veteran leadership. For Austin Reed, it means another year of development, most likely from the practice squad, where he'll continue learning under Keenum's mentorship. The path to the 53-man roster might not be open right now, but his opportunity to grow is far from over. Now, one of the tougher stories, Xavier Carlton. The 6'7", 280-pound defensive end out of Cal was one of those raw but intriguing undrafted rookies that fans wanted to see stick around. On paper, the stat line wasn't flashy: 47 snaps, 2 tackles, 6 assists, no sacks, and no quarterback hits. But the tape told a slightly different story. Carlton proved to be surprisingly stout against the run, earning a 70.2 grade in run defense. His size and strength consistently clogged lanes, forcing ball carriers back inside. And while he didn't generate big pass rush numbers, he showed flashes of potential, even grabbing a fumble recovery during preseason action. That's the kind of effort that doesn't go unnoticed. Carlton may not have cracked the 53-man roster, but his skill set makes him a prime candidate for the practice squad, and maybe, just maybe, another team looking for size on the edge takes notice. For an undrafted rookie, it was actually a strong preseason. But when you factor in the Bears' investment in Dio and the rise of Austin Booker, the numbers game was always going to be tough. There simply wasn't enough space to keep everyone, and the staff had to make difficult choices about who stays and who goes. One of the more notable veterans shown the door was Tre Flowers. Unlike some of the others, Flowers wasn't waived, he was released outright, which means he's free to sign with any team immediately. Early in camp, the 6'3", 200-pound defensive back looked like he might carve out a role. But the production just wasn't there. Across 108 snaps, Flowers posted 5 total tackles, all in a single game against Miami. He finished without a pass deflection, and while his overall puff grade sat at 68.4, his performance against Kansas City was costly. A coverage grade of 44.8 told the story as he surrendered too many explosive plays. When you consider the depth chart, Jalen Johnson's return, Terrell Smith holding his ground, and rookies like Tariq Stevenson and Kyler Garden solidifying their spots, Flowers was fighting an uphill battle from the start. He became more of a camp body than a long-term option, even if his veteran experience was valuable. That doesn't mean his career ends here. A player with his size and experience could land on a practice squad quickly, and don't be surprised if a team inside the NFC North comes calling, eager to pick his brain about the Bears' defensive system. And finally, a surprise at linebacker. The Bears chose not to keep one of their speedy outside options, instead leaning on depth from Carl Jones and Noah Sewell behind the starters. It's a signal that Chicago is comfortable with their core, but it also leaves the door open for more adjustments as the season unfolds. Sometimes even strong performances aren't enough when the depth chart is stacked. Take Caleb Power, the undrafted rookie linebacker who flashed throughout preseason. Across 66 snaps, he logged 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and a standout coverage grade of 75.3, finishing with an impressive 83.2 PUF overall rating. On tape, he looked fast, aggressive, and disruptive. Chicago even invested in him, handing out a $100,000 signing bonus just to bring him in. But numbers don't lie, not just stats, but roster math. With Noah Sewell, Carl Jones, and veterans like T.J. Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds locking down the linebacker room, Power was always fighting uphill. Still, this doesn't feel like the end. He's a prime candidate for the practice squad, and if another team doesn't grab him first, the Bears would be wise to keep him close in case of injuries. On the defensive back front, things got even tighter. Millard Bradford was added late after injuries piled up during camp, but he never truly separated himself. No big plays, no real momentum, and in the end, he was just another camp body. His journey now shifts to finding another opportunity elsewhere, possibly back with the Saints where he previously spent time. Alex Cook, meanwhile, brought a bit more intrigue. Chicago had him stashed on their practice squad last year after a stint in Carolina, and he showed flashes, especially with his physicality against Kansas City. But the numbers were rough. His coverage grade fell below 40, one of the lowest on the team. While he's a hard-hitting safety and offers value on special teams, the Bears simply have too many bodies filling that role. Cook may not fit in Chicago's plans, but his toughness could land him a fresh start with another roster. Another tough decision came at defensive back. While he flashed as a hard hitter and showed he could contribute on special teams, his coverage, both in zone and man-to-man, simply didn't hold up. That weakness sealed his fate, and he'll now be searching for a fresh opportunity with another team. One of the more intriguing athletes, Caleb Hayes, was also among those released. Hayes brought elite speed to camp, having clocked an eye-popping 4.33 in the 40-yard dash at the combine. On paper, that kind of speed can change a game. But when preseason action rolled around, his name rarely surfaced. He became more of an emergency camp body when the secondary was banged up, and ultimately that wasn't enough to secure a roster spot. Still, with speed like his, another team may take a chance. The offensive line also saw movement. Joshua Miles was waived after a disappointing preseason. Despite his size and experience, Miles struggled in pass protection and was one of the few linemen to surrender a sack during exhibition play. With reports now suggesting that Chicago is actively shopping Ja'Tyre Carter and Jordan McFadden to test their market value, the Bears clearly feel they have enough depth to move forward without Miles. And that brings us to the end of a dramatic roster cutdown day for the Chicago Bears, August 25, 2025. The team trimmed its roster to 53, letting go of both promising young talent and seasoned veterans. It was a reminder of just how competitive this year's roster has become. Every name cut today could be an opportunity for another team tomorrow,